students. Today we are going to see about 6th standard history, unit 4, South Indian Kingdom. Learning objectives. To know the southern India state that emerged after the fall of the Mauryan Empire, to acquire information of the ruling dynasties such as Pallavas, Chalukyas and Rashtrakutas and their domains. To understand their contribution to society and culture with reference to literature, art and architecture. Now see about South Indian Kingdom. By the early 7th century, synchronizing with the Harshas region in the north, therefore South had come under the control of the Pallava king of Kanchipuram. Pallava sovereignty included the domains of the Cholas and the Pandyas. They later were the emerging as ruling dynasties in their respective river valley region. Much of the control and esteem design was under the Chalukya of Badami, who were they pushed away by the Rashtrakutas. The medieval period in India was marked by this emergence of regional centers of power. There was no signal imperial power like Mauryan or Guptas who exercised control over the greater part of India in this period. The Pallava kings ruled around the prosperous agrarian settlement and important trade center of Kanchipuram on the southeast coast of India. Kanchipuram was well known as Chinese and Roman. From the flourishing trade center of Kanchipuram, the later Pallavas extended their sovereignty over all the Tamil-speaking region during the 7th and 8th centuries. The central part of the kingdom, however, was Tondai Mandalam, a large political region comprising northern part of Tamil Nadu and the adjoining Andhra district. Now we are going to see Pallava genealogy. Prominent kings. There were early Pallava rulers who were feudatories of Sadavahanas. Simha Vishnu, son of Shimmavarman II, around 550 AD, created a strong Pallava kingdom after destroying the Kalamhara. He defeated many kings in the south, including the Cholas and the Pandyas. His able son was Mahendravarman I. He was succeeded by his son Narasimhavarman I. The other prominent Pallava rulers were Narasimhavarman II or Rajasimha and Nandivarman II. The last Pallava ruler was Aprajita. Mahendravarman 600 to 630 AD contribute to the greatness of the Pallava kingdom. Mahendravarman I was the follower of Jainism in the early part of his rule. He was converted to Saivam by the Saivit sign. Apart Tirunavukarasar. He was a great pattern of the art and architecture. He is known for introducing a new style of drawing architecture, which is referred to as Mahendra style. Mahendra Varman also wrote plays, including 620 Mattavilasa Pragistana. The digital of the Mahendravarman region involved constant battle with the western Chalukya kingdom of Badami under Pulikesi II. Pulikesi seemed to have defined Mahendravarman in one of the battle and taken over a large part of his territory in the north. His son Narasimhavarman I 632 668 avenged the defeat by capturing Vadapi, the capital of Chalukyas. He set Vadapi on fire, killing Pulikesi in the process. Narasimhavarman II 695 to 722, also known as Rajasimha, was the great military. His region was comparatively free from any political disturbance. Therefore, he could concentrate on temple building activities. During his region, the famous Kailasanatha temple at Kanjipuram was built. Pallava's contribution of architecture. Pallava period is known for architectural splendors. They show temple and various other temples carved from great monoliths and the Varaha cave, 7th century at Mamallapuram, or illustrious example of Pallava architecture. In 1984, Mamallapuram was added to the list of UNESCO World Heritage Site. Pallava architecture can be classified as three types. First one, Raka temples, Mahendravarman style. Second one, monolithic Rathar and sculpture mandips, Mamallan style. Third one, structural temple, Rajasimhan style and Nandivarman style. Next one, society and cultural. The Pallava supported Jainism, Buddhism and the Vedic faith. They were great patterns of music, painting and literature. Some of the Pallava kings patronized the Asvaras and Nayanmars. They expanded of Bhakti cult, preached a new form of Vaishnavam and Saivam. Among the Saivits were Apatya Manikavasahar. Among the Vaishnavam were Nammalvar and Andal. The Bhakti movement among the praising a popular faith. Women were encouraged to participate in their religious congregation. The Their Tamil devotional cult was comparative with Buddhism and Jainism. Therefore, they later surfaced a gradual decline in the most part of Tamil country. Next one, education and literature. Katika and Kanji was popular during the Pallava time and it attract students from all parts of India and abroad. Valsaya, who wrote Naya Basha, was a teacher at Kanji. The treatise on Dakshin Center, Dakshin Chitram was complete during the region of Mahendravarman I. The great Sanskrit scholar Dhanni lived in the court of Narasimhavarma I, then composed Dakshakumara Sarita. Tamil literature had also flourished during the Pallava rule. Devaram, composed by Nayanmars, and Nalayara Divya Prabandham, composed by Alvar, while are still chanted by devout people. Perendevanar, who was patronized by Nandivarman II, translated the Mahabharata into Tamil as Bharata Venba. The Pallava kings had also patronized fine arts. The music inscription in Kudumayamalai and Thirumayam temples shows Pallava interested in music. The famous musician Rudracharya lived during Mahendravarman I. The sculpture of this period depict many images in dancing posters. Next, we are going to see the Rashtrakutas. The Rashtrakutas ruled not only the Deccan but parts of the far south and the Ganges plain as well from 8th to 10th century AD. They were of Kannada origin and their mother tongue was Kannada. Thandidurga was the founder of Rashtrakuta dynasty. He was an official of high rank under the Chalukya of Badami. Krishna I succeeded Dandidurga. He was consolidated and extended the Rashtrakuta power. He was a great pattern of art and architecture. Then, Kailasanatha temple at Ellora was built by him. Next, we are going to see Rashtrakuta kings. The greatest king of the Rashtrakuta dynasty was Amoghavarsha. He built a new capital at Manyaketa and approach became the port. Amoghavarsha was converted to Jainism by Jainisa, a Jain monk. Krishna II, who succeeded his father Amoghavarsha, suffered of defeat in the Battle of Vallala at the hand of Cholas under Parandaha in c. 916. Krishna III 939 to 967 was the last able ruler of Rashtrakuta dynasty. He defeated the Cholas in the Battle of Takkolam and captured Tanjavur. The Chakkolam and Next, we are going to see Rashtrakuta kings. The greatest king of the Rashtrakuta dynasty was Amoghavarsha. He built a new capital at Manyaketa and approach became the port. Amoghavarsha was converted to Jainism by Jainisa, a Jain monk, Krishna too, who succeeded his father Amoghavarsha, suffered of defeat in the Battle of Vallala at the hand of Cholas and Parandaha in c. 916. Krishna III 939 to 967 was the last able ruler of Rashtrakuta dynasty. He defeated the Cholas in the Battle of Takkolam and captured Tanjavur. The Chakolam under Krishna III contested with other ruling dynasties on North India for the control of Kanju. He built Krishneshwara temple at Rameshwaram. Govinda III was the last ruler of hold the emerged empire intact. After his death, the Rashtrakuta power declined. Next, we are going to see contribution of Rashtrakutas to literature, art, and architecture. Literature. Kannada language became more prominent. Kaviraja Marga, composed by Amoghavarsha, was the first poetic work in Kannada language. Court poet produced eminent work in Kannada. The three gems of Kannada literature during the period were Pamma, Sripona, and Rana. Adikavi Pamma was famous of his creative works Adipurana and Vikramarjuna Vijaya. The life of Rishabha Baba, the first Jain Tirthangara, is depicted in Purana. In Vikramarjuna Vijaya Pamma's pattern, Chalukya Arikesari is defeated with Arjuna, epic hero of Mahabharata. Next, we are going to see art and architecture. The Rashtrakuta made significant contribution of Indian art. The art and architecture of the Rashtrakuta can be found at Ellora and Elephants. Next, we are going to see Kailasanatha Temple, Ellora, near Aurangabad, Maharashtra. Kailasanatha Temple was one of the 30 temples carved out of the hill at Ellora. It was built during the reign of Krishna I. The temple is known for its architectural grandeur and sculptural splendor. The temple covers an area of over 60,000 square feet, and Vimanam temple was raised to a height of 90 feet. This temple has a resemblance to the Sor temple at Mamallapuram. The Kailasanatha temple portrays typical Dravidian features. Next, we are going to see about Elephanta Island. Originally known as Striburi and called Karapuri by the local people. Elephanta is an island near Mumbai. The Portuguese named it as Elephanta after seeing the huge image of the Elephanta. The, the Tirumurti Siva icon is an illustrative of the sculpture beauty portrayed in the cave temple of Elephanta. There are impressive images of Dwarabalahas at the entrance of the temple. Next, we are going to see Pattalakal. Rashtrakutas built temples in the complex of Pattalakal. Jain Jain Narayana temple and the Kasi Vishwaswara temple were built by Rashtrakutas. Let's recap of the lesson. By the early 7th century, South India had came under the control of Pallavas of Kanji and Chalukyas of Badami. Pallava period is known for architectural sculpture. Pallava's architecture can be classified as rock temple, structural temple, monolithic rathas, and the Chalukyas contributed richly to art and architecture. A new style of architecture known as Visarat style developed during that period. The Rashtrakuta also made significant contribute to Indian art. The art and architecture can be found at Ellora Cave and Elephanta Island. That's all in this lesson. Thanks to all.